Hi everyone, Dean here from Enroll My. Hey, I'm thrilled to welcome you to the Breakfast Club. We're back after a little while with fresh energy and a lineup of incredible conversations coming your way. As many of you know, I'm always talking with people from the UK, Ireland, and the world who have had an incredible impact on the lives of children, young people, and families. I'm keen to understand what drives them and the journey that they've been on to become the people that they are today. In this episode, I chat with Shaun Grant from Story Group. It was a fantastic conversation with Shaun, hearing how he blended his passion for football into his career, something that I know many of us listeners will appreciate. We also dive into how technology is transforming the childcare and children's activities industry. It is a fun, insightful conversation that explores growth, innovation, and just how much the industry's changed. So grab your morning beverage, sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy this conversation. Right, hi, it's Dean here from Enroll My in the Breakfast Club podcast, and I am here with Shaun, and we're excited to get in a conversation today. We're always talking with people, individuals who made a real impact on children and families' lives, and just kind of keen to understand what drives them and the journey that they've been on as they roll through these things. So really excited to be joined by Shaun today. Now, Shaun, I've made some notes about your what you've done, I suppose, recently. So obviously with the Story Group now.
Yeah.
What was before that? Before Story Group.
So, going right the way back was our first business. It was like a mini kickers program. I had it with a good friend of mine at the time. Teaching, still around coaching, but coaching the real young. So that was a
real young, like we're just starting to run and we're cooking a football.
That's it. Yeah. So it's more babysitting, and then trying to get the fundamentals out there, which was it was tough. It was tough.
Would it be fair to say that all great players started like that?
Ooh, I would say some sort of scheme, definitely. I think if they're doing their ABCs, the agility, balance, coordination side of things, and speed, I think that plays a part. In that development.
And I think everyone thinks their kid is like the next. But insert famous football player name. But do you reckon? It's a slight aside because we'll get to this later on. But do you reckon that you can tell when a 3-year-old starts kicking the ball around that they've got something going on?
Oh, you see sometimes that, we've got some potential. But you just never know how it's going to pan out. Like, everyone will catch up at some point, and then life catches up as well. So I would love to say, yes, start there and then it would go through. But I think it is definitely like life experiences, certain upbringings, and then the amount of time you're touching that ball as well. If you're looking at football or any sport, for instance. The amount of time on court or on field with the ball. 100%.
That's funny. I often say to my kids, there's the trinity of important things. There's talent, and then there's opportunity, and then there's hard work. And I always say to them, look, you guys got talent. You've got plenty of opportunity. I'm not really seeing this. The bit that really matters, which is that hard work bit. So that's always a bit of fun. So so that's cool. Yes. So through the little kickers, and then
through little kickers. Then went on to a company that was my first proper company, setting up as a limited, etc. It was actually called Sports Idol.
Okay.
Cool. Sort of taking it from Pop Idol. That obviously don't think it's legal to do that now, but was. Basically, the whole message around that was every child's got to have an idol. So when through sports, and this is the way that we was doing it.
Cool.
And then that progressed on to Get Active. Get Active Sports, where my first company was with a guy called Scott. I learned so much from him. Still a great friend.
Cool.
We speak about business pretty much every day. And then met my current business partners, Rob and Ryan. And then we made like the new Get Active. So before that, I drew up the logos, made the company, and then there was an opportunity to basically work with Rob and Ryan and make the new Get Active. So
cool.
12 years.
12 years,
12 years on.
It's a good stint, eh? 12 years, man.
Yeah, we've become good friends. We're three strangers. Didn't know each other.
Wow.
So there was a lot of that trust element,
Yeah.
Building friendships.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, now we barbecues at each other's houses.
Yeah.
It's safe to say that they would see me as their little brother.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of the three. I always make sure that they know that.
Yeah.
Literally just building that, and then we stepped into the story where we met, again, more incredible people, incredible people that we're working with as directors, more incredible people that are working on the field in the schools, doing the training for apprenticeships, and the children's care homes, supported living, etc. It's just amazing. Of what they're achieving.
It's a cool journey. I think that the story group stuff is it's kind of like you've taken a step up each time, like as far as the age of the group people that you're working with, you know, and I think it's I've been really excited to follow it, you know, through that journey. As you guys are thinking about it, so that was pretty cool. So if we take it back right to the start, so where did you grow up? Where was there?
So I actually was born in Hammersmith, in West London. Then grew up in northwest London, so around like Stonebridge, Harlesden. Cool. And from a young age moved to Slough, and then that's where everything was flourished from being in Slough, like football, sport, competitiveness, friends, etc. That was where I grew up. Obviously went back to London, but basically just to see family. But the main thing was growing up in Slough. And
was that the formative? You know, it's interesting at what age you consolidate which sport teams you're going to support.
Primary school.
Primary school, you reckon for you?
Yeah, primary school for me.
Yeah.
And it was probably, I didn't really know much about football. I was probably more into music than anything else. And then it was your peers, your friends. They support Man United. At the time, Man United was the biggest team. And my uncle had a big part in that. He supported United. He was the oldest of the uncles. So what he said went.
Totally.
So then, literally started supporting that, and then started following it. All the other boys and girls, and it was mainly boys, to be honest. There wasn't many girls that supported and followed football. They'd have the kits. Then you start getting into playing football in the playground. And just really progressing it that way, and then you just follow it. Then you actually go to Old Trafford. You think, well, and then you can't change teams. That's it.
Not once your pilgrimage to the home ground.
Definitely.
And do you think that the formative sports stuff contributed to your, when you think about getting into the kickers at the start and things like that, did that contribute to that kind of thinking at that time?
Yeah, definitely. With football, lived and breathed football. If you speak to my mum and dad, they'd be like, God, he wouldn't shut up about football. So he's got football at his feet. And then going through college, etc. I only wanted to go on a college program that played football. So I managed to do that again, and then that's probably where the business part started to kick in between college and university. And then football was the main source really of just being able to touch a football every day. Wasn't good enough to make it pro. So coaching and having a football at my feet every day was the next best thing.
Absolutely. And kept you active. Like I know, same for me. I was a different sport, but in rugby, I was good enough to be elite at school, but not really to go any further than that kind of thing. And so it was like there's massive stats about people dropping off sport after they finish school, where they just don't take those next steps. And so how do you maintain that love, but also maintain that sense of because you're running around lots when you're at school, and then suddenly you're at university and you're sitting down and you're writing and you're not doing it as much.
Definitely.
And then you get into a job in the real world. And
the real world.
And then you're sitting down even more, and it's like far out. The best thing I ever saw was a guy in Canada I worked with for a while. He had a treadmill under his desk, standing desk with a treadmill, and you could always tell like how fast he was going by how much he was sweating on the screen, which is funny. So those were challenges. So that's cool. So a bit of sport, and then into uni. What did you?
Uni sports management and football studies over at Bucks New University. Then you never think that you would use those skills. So there was finance, which obviously plays a big part of the business. Excel, sports science. I always thought I'd probably go down the sports science route. So love technology and the things that they were doing with the sports science. Again, met a new group of friends, and one of my mates there, Jeff, he actually, because I was working at Reading Football Club, he's like, come and do some multi-sports. And I was like, no, if I'm not doing multi-sports, football's the pinnacle, that is it. I don't
is there any other sport?
Yeah, that was the only sport for me. And then he said, come give it a try.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it. And then from that, ticked on really to learn all these other sports. I was teaching fencing, gymnastics.
Wow,
which I didn't think I would. No chance. Teaching gymnastics, orienteering, you name it. I've probably taught every single sport, even dance. Got 2 left feet at the moment, but even with dance, just being able to put a lesson on. And I was like, right, it's probably that challenge of, right, can you do it? And then can you do it effectively? And is it a good lesson? And then keep progressing it that way. So that was tough on a learning curve, which obviously uni doesn't teach you that. But the opportunity only arose because I met Jeff at university. So that was
kind of opened more doors.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
then you got into like your second year, and you got thinking about your dissertation. And then they're always thinking of like, what are you going to do next? You don't want to do another year at uni. You want to go about the real world. And that got you thinking of like, all right, do I apply for jobs? So you apply for jobs, but you don't get the job because you haven't got the experience, because you've got all the academia. And then it's moving on, right, let's try it yourself. And from that first year, then bringing in what I knew, what I learned, and then the future of building the business is really actually getting out there and do it and learn as you go. So,
and it's funny how when you look back on your life and look back at the way you get to where you are today, it's all these like little steps along the way and little doors that open and things like that. It's cool. And I remember actually I used to be a school teacher, and teaching gymnastics was always fun because I could vault. And so all these little there's no way my 6'3" teacher's vaulting or whatever, kind of thing. And then I just roll along and just flip off the top of it, and they're like, just awestruck,
My party trick was headstands, so I'm still pretty good at headstands now. So if you to get their class's attention, especially team gymnastics, pull a headstand. If he can do it, surely I can. It's one of my party tricks still now.
Can you spin it?
I can. Couldn't spin. I probably
not
tried
breakdown styles.
No, I probably tried it. That's probably how I lost my hair. Literally, I was just basically trying to do the splits in the air. Not the splits, but just attempting to do the splits and just different shapes. And that's as far as it got. Like to get any further.
No, that's cool. And it's funny. Like I think of that too from a all the different kind of doors that opened at different times. That you kind of were ready for the next one. You talk about the finance, and for me it was like running a music school. Suddenly I had to learn how to what credit notes meant, and all these kind of financial elements that in whether it be sport or education or whatever, you didn't necessarily have to learn all those things. Suddenly you do. Suddenly they're important, and it's like, okay, well, this is actually part of what it means to move forward to do all this really well, which is cool.
Definitely. And it's just then because back then when we first started, it was only after school sports clubs.
Your
PPA cover, holiday camps. And then you had your breakfast clubs as well, but the breakfast clubs would run pretty much sports. So you had a gymnastics breakfast club that ran at 7:15 to 8:45. And then you had your lunch clubs, and that was it. That was mainly it. And then our turning point was we started to do an extension to our sports club. So we tried to do like a 2-hour sports club, and then map it into like your gifted and talented would come later. Your participation would be the first part. And then it just evolved into wraparound care.
So and was that because the schools asked for that as well, or parents asked for it?
I think the schools we pitched the idea, then we tried it, and then one of the schools that we were working in a different area was like, oh, we like what you do here. Do you think you could do the wraparound care? Didn't know what wraparound care was at the time. But we're like,
it was like 12, 15 years ago.
So we was like, okay, we can extend this, and we can do the sports element still. But add in your food, your nutrition, and then your arts and crafts. So basically, we just made a holiday camp after school every day. So it just evolved, and that's then got to know about the childcare vouchers. Of implementing it for the 3 hours, because we had it for the holiday camps before. And then it just progressed. And I guess it was a good product, good service that more schools wanted it. I can't remember what we got it up to in the end, but the holiday camps and everything else.
How many schools did you get? Not how many schools, but how did other schools find out about it? Like, so you obviously a couple of schools you kind of progressed from the sports into the more activities and then into the wraparound care. So that one school that's operating really well, how did it progress to the other schools?
So a lot of word of mouth from other school teachers moving on, and head teachers recommending us to other head teachers. And a lot of the times they used to do, one of the schools we were in worked with a cluster of schools. So I think it was just by chance they had a meeting at the school, saw what we did, and that was another 5 or 6 head teachers that saw what we did, and were, can we come and have a look? What do you do? Yes, we'd love this in our school. And then it evolved that way. Very loose marketing. Very, very loose. It wasn't, again, our marketing was a flyer, drop it off at the school. It wasn't very, there was no social media at the time. Hardly any social media at the time. So it was a lot. The painful part was dropping off your letters, designing your letters, dropping the letters off, printing them all out, then collecting them back from the schools, and it was all cash and checks. Weekends, that was your weekend of getting all the banking ready for the Monday, but having the registers ready for Monday as well, so that everyone's got a register. I remember that, like I remember back to the same time frame when I had my music school, the change that happened between the first years where you'd rock up on Saturday to the bank or on Friday with just this mass wad of checks, Exactly.
And you'd feel like real wealthy for about a day. And you'd bank all these checks and all this cash and stuff, and it was just like far out. And the difference to what it is today, it's just unbelievable. And that's a space of a few years, and whether it's marketing or administration or anything, that change has just been huge.
It was tough.
And you were doing it all. You're doing how's your design skills? That's the question.
Designing was I think it was all in PowerPoint at the time. Like Rich, who does our designing now, he would put it in the bin. It wasn't the best. There was no templates either. So you had to make it from scratch.
I got a better one than PowerPoint. I designed my original stuff in Microsoft Publisher.
Oh yeah, I remember.
That was a shocker. Like, it's kind of one of those things you don't admit in conversations. I just admit it to the world, so that's all good.
And in the end, I started like reaching out to people who are a lot more creative than I was. To then just try. This is what I want. Make it look pretty. Make it easy to read. And then that's when the marketing. I think it was one of the coach's dads did my first website.
Oh wow, cool.
And that was my first part of going online and going digital with a booking system. And it was PayPal.
Oh wow, cool. So
it was again very tedious because you had to make the PayPal links, make the buttons, and then put the buttons in the website. So I mean, loads of the stuff that you're learning, they didn't teach that at uni. Didn't teach at college. It was finding out the best solution. So I think I probably was one of definitely in my area, I was probably the only one that was doing a booking system.
Wow, online.
And then another coach's mum's partner had another booking system. I was like, all right, let's have a look at that. Let's see what this looks like. Does it make it easier? I just want something that people can book on and then spit out a register, so I'm not taking 5 hours doing a register. And then and it just evolved from that. And that was just for your holiday clubs, your after school clubs, sports clubs at the time, lunch clubs, etc. Just so you knew that the registers, because obviously then you had to get those registers to the coaches. And not everyone had a laptop or a PC, so that's another journey. Dropping stuff off,
drive around, get to know the local area really well.
Some of them didn't drive. So it was a tough time. Like reminiscing now, it's just how it's evolved now. It's just one click, or I don't have to click on it. Well, I didn't have to click on anything. They just downloaded their own register, or it was on their phone. End, so
it's crazy, and I think you and I understand that kind of formative time frame where where the ideas start happening, and then the journey to what's possible, and then there's I think there's a growing, what's the phrase? There's like a growing consciousness in any industry or in any kind of thing of what's possible, and I think the wraparound care stuff that from the government today around wraparound care is now, I think it wasn't a thing before and now it is.
Yes.
And so now we're going to fund this well, and across the UK. And Ireland actually as well. I kind of think of it a bit like the British and Irish Lions. Just wrap it all up, that things go really well there. We'll just go like that there. Keep going. And so across the industry, across every sector, everything that serves that industry and parents and everything, that growing awareness has come through, which is cool. When did you first start getting into using vouchers? Because that's always a good story, hey?
Vouchers. You know what? To be fair to him, Rob, sort of, he was taking vouchers before everybody else.
Wow, yeah, he knew what was going on.
Yeah, so he got lumbered with it, to be honest. I remember him saying there wasn't many vouchers at first, and then more and more vouchers kept becoming available. Parents would ring up and say, do you have this voucher? Then we'd ring up and then booking the vouchers on. Yeah. And that's just to get them the voucher numbers there.
Yeah.
And then obviously you have to then try and implement it into the booking system, which again, it was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
No one
knew how to use them.
So I know that was painful for him.
We'd
say every Friday he would have his little tantrum. He didn't like the vouchers too much. But
while you were driving around everywhere delivering everything, he was like trying to have a tantrum on that.
On there. So
we love you, Rob. It's all good.
We do love him.
Someone had to do it.
Yeah, so. And he was good at it. He was good at it. To be fair, he taught the office team how to use it. Everyone had their different parts, and Ryan came around with the educational spin and the more structured type of the delivery. I was always looking at training, what's needed, what's coming in the future,
kind of more strategic kind of thing.
And then tech, they hate me being on tech because I'll be like, oh, that's brilliant. They always say that.
Let's try that.
They always say I'm the easiest to sell to with tech because I'm just like in awe.
But,
it's just making sure that we can set up for the next 10 years. And then once you're halfway through that, what's technology doing? What are we doing as a provision? Can we get on to the next part? And keep things up to date.
Moving forward. And I think it's really interesting that you've kind of really articulated that journey between when you get started, you're driving, you're doing the hard yard, you're making your own flyers, you're just getting out there, And I think I haven't talked to one person, myself included, who in this industry hasn't gone through those formative,
pain points.
Pain points. And, you might think of the biggest people in the industry today, all of them started in that space, there's no, I don't think there's a shortcut even today for those who really want to get started at stuff,
No. I think if you're starting today, finding a mentor would be great, so that you're not making those mistakes. Going through finding a good booking system, and finding the good people behind that to deliver the service is paramount, basically. Definitely, if anyone's looking to start, find a mentor that can talk you through those parts, and
it's wisdom.
Dealing with schools again, different kettle of fish
today, even from those days.
They get a lot wiser to some of the tricks that you may use to get your service out there. And again, there's probably about 15 other, if you're doing it, 15 other companies are probably doing it the same way. So
it is. It's very much around differentiating your offering.
That's it.
What's unique about your offering. Everyone has a different way that they want to differentiate, and it's difficult to find that. What is that differentiation piece, and then really hone in on your marketing and your communications to clearly articulate that differentiation. It's no different in any industry, but it's becoming, with so much happening these days, it's more and more important. So obviously, Get Active grew and was very successful, and then you had a couple of offers, and you're able to chat through those things, and then you had a good outcome.
It had a very good outcome. So Yeah, I had a few offers. Got very close with one of the offers, and for various reasons, it fell through.
Yeah.
And then it sort of got us wiser to it as again a new process.
Yes.
And then eventually sold Get Active. We believe that he was the best fit.
Totally amazing.
He was great with very forthcoming with his plan. It matched ours. If we were staying on, we would have went on the same journey. And then again, it always helps to know people that know people. And just finding out their background. So he did a bit of due diligence. Obviously, harder due diligence with the solicitors and lawyers in place. But
there's two kinds, isn't there? What you're saying is there's the legal and financial due diligence, but there's the human due diligence 100%. That you have an organisation that you're proud of, that you've built, you've got a great team in place, and you know that whoever you want to hand over to, you want to make sure that your own personal integrity is maintained in that space.
And the staff as well. So some of those staff were with us from the start. And we're talking 10, 15 years. So we want to make sure that they're looked after, and it's not just like, we take you over, right, get rid of the team, and we put our own. So we made some choices and had some long conversations on that. With this new person. Again, he fits the bill. We still talk to him now. Odd occasion, speak to his team. So we deliver like apprenticeships to his team as well, and to his wider team. But it just if he was with us, he probably would have been another director, because that's how much we fitted in. So he's got a bigger network and he wants to bring it on further. Obviously, we've gone onto the story route. So that was probably the best person that we could release the business to.
And it is. I mean, I had a similar situation when I sold my music school. We were across a couple of nations in the Southern Hemisphere, and I'd worked with these guys for ages, and I couldn't just sell it to the biggest competitor, because the whole time I had this narrative how we were up against this competitor. I couldn't just suddenly sell to that competitor. It's like, hey guys, how for 10 years I've been saying these guys are not not good for me, be your boss. It can't happen.
Work. It wouldn't work.
But that was amazing to work through that. And like you say, once again at uni, when you're studying sport, or in my case teaching, selling a business.
It's not in there. No. Not in there as well. I think I've said bye to the Get Active staff about 6 times. And now we've moved. We were sharing offices, and we've only just moved into our new office. I said bye to them on Friday. So, guys, I might not see you for a while, etc., etc. No tears from me, but everyone was very emotional. And then our office wasn't ready, so we extended one more week. So I was back in on the Mondays.
Hey guys, how Friday's gonna be the last day.
I just said I like cuddles, so I just kept it as that. And now we actually have moved out. It's sort of like sinking in now that is we don't own that no more. They're going on their own journey and everything else. So it's nice. I think a lot of them there would do very well and be able to thrive a lot more.
And because it's such a great team too. People have been able to step up to that next level, which has been amazing. So
that team knew everything from, again, like I said, there was from the beginning. Shannon, who was there, she was an apprentice. And I think Callum, one of the coaches, they're a brilliant mentor to the young, to everybody in that business. His journey started off as just doing work experience with Ryan.
Wow.
And then being with us. And then we've seen him create his own family. I remember when he bought his first car.
Monumental milestones when you're young.
And like he always gets confused. Well, he doesn't get confused. People get confused with saying that he's me. I know he used to hate that, but he probably loved it when I had hair. But when I lost my hair, he'd probably like, no, I'm not sure. But he's brilliant. Ash, who runs the company now, brilliant. Sophie. Ash was with Rob for a long time, so I think you're looking at 15 years there. So all of those people, Sophie joined a lot later, but it was part of that team that grew. So when we started having an office manager, and she runs.
So they saw the journey of the company on the way through.
Even though it may have took longer than they would have expected, it grew. Especially Ash, he would have sat down and said, "Wow, I remember we had 5 clubs. now there's X amount of clubs running, and this is the journey he's been on through his whole career. So he started coming in at part-time to now be the managing director. Which is again another great story to go by. But,
and I think it's the people story, isn't it? That whatever we do, at the end of the day, we're working with a stack of people, and we've got an opportunity to work with them and see the good happen for them. As much as it happens for us on that journey, and it's awesome. So. That, finally after 6 possible endings, we're in here with the story group in the offices here, which is awesome. What's the name of this place again? I always forget it.
So this area, Finchampstead.
Finchampstead.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
My geography's kind of improving slowly.
So outskirts. Really, this country basically.
So, the outskirts of Wokingham.
That's it.
There'll be way. See, I know that. And I love to get out to people's locations and chat, because it's just it's a different vibe. You get the vibe of what's going on. So Story Group, we're into it full on now. And what's the future for Story Group?
So stories, like, we're trying to create a bright future for not just for young people but for everybody. Moving forward, so we've got children's care homes, supported living. We deal with residential care qualifications that houses that. We've got alternative provision that looks at knife crime, LGBTQ confidence building, mechanics, etc. And then we've got the training, which then houses everything. So staff will be put through maybe a learning mentor. The leadership will be put through like a team leader course. So that's working just with those. And then with the apprenticeship sides, we're working with over 50 companies now.
Wow.
Nationwide, delivering various different qualifications. But our biggest growth has been the residential care, which again we've got our own care homes, children's care homes, etc. So that we'll be able to push that on. And then
that's part of the strategy, like the care homes as well.
Care homes is strategy.
That's been very meaningful. And so it's
with the alternative provision, that had a nice growth as well. Started off in a school. Just renting 2 classrooms. Now we've got our own school. So now we've got that where some 3 acres of land. Children are loving it. It's a safe environment. The school, you then recognise it as a school. And then potential, we're looking at how do we turn that into a school. So they're the processes and a space to watch, really.
Exciting, man. Exciting, and I think it's been interesting, like I said before, following it from same with the little kickers, and then working your way through, and doing the coaching, and then into the wraparound care and the holiday camps, and then rolling up right up to the.
It's really affecting and helping people. Helping families, helping with career progressions. So I was on an event in Hackney. So I get one thing about my job, I get to travel a lot, which is nice. Being able to just help people. But we actually are helping people and impacting lives. Where we did that through sport for so many times, it's now sort of that next level of we're actually helping families out and keeping people alive.
Totally.
Which is always a nice thing. And again, it takes a special team to do that. So kind of in team building mode again, like pulling that group together. Everyone thinks we're crazy. Everyone said that we should have retired after the first part, but I think again, all of us, there's 7 of us on this side, and all driven, all spur each other on to do it. Very supportive, and again, strangers around the table, getting to know each other on a personal level. Everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses as well, so. There's more strengths, to be fair, than weaknesses, and everyone's just moving in the right direction. Together, making moves and making waves, really. And
it's so awesome, because I think the foundational book ever, that when I think back to everything that I've read, is The Social Entrepreneur by an English guy, and he was working out of Bromley by Bow before it was all done up. Back in the day when it was a bit more rough and ready. And his whole view was, it's individuals and groups on the ground doing something themselves, building that up and growing. That's where the real change comes. And so it's awesome to see Story Group powering forward in that. I look forward to following it.
That'd be good. And then. Who's in there now? Gemma and Rich trying to like make it more creative. At the moment, it's just a shell.
Yeah,
so try and make it more creative. So it'd be good when you come back again.
Yeah, totally.
Just to be like, oh yeah, this is what it looks like, and then this is now what it looks like. It should be pretty cool.
I was going to say LinkedIn. I follow you heaps on LinkedIn with all the story group stuff that comes through.
Yeah.
And, it's been awesome, even from far away, seeing the progression as things have come through. So that's cool. So how can people follow you and what's going on?
So I've got LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Should just search Shaun Grant, and then that should come up.
Yep.
Search story group again. That
Two Ys.
Yeah, 2 Ys.
Yeah.
So the reason for the 2 Ys is the unity.
Oh, nice.
So that we have with everyone that we deal with, basically. So hopefully everyone that we deal with feels like they've been supported and we've got that unity in place.
Cool.
There will be some podcasts popping out as well. So we've been asked to do quite a few.
Yeah.
So you're my first one.
Awesome.
Which is great.
So hopefully a good bit of practice.
And pretty much on all social media handles. And then it'd be great to see people support us, supporting everybody else really.
Yeah. It is, and it is awesome to see. Like I say, follow the journey right on the way through, and so do connect in. So the Shaun Grant and then story group with the STORYY.
That's it.
Group, which you'll see on a shirt, and I'll put the links in down the bottom as well. So you'll be able to follow what's going on, and definitely a few nuggets in there. Shaun, thank you, and it's really the journey's been awesome. Just hearing the journey, everyone. You might look at people that seem really successful and they've done a lot of stuff, but it's like you don't realise that, like back in the day we were driving school to school with handmade flyers that were trying to get started,
lunch clubs for 30 minutes, travelling 2 hours to get to. Don't know, stupidity or if it was part of the process.
Without a doubt it's part of the process. I don't know anyone that's shortchanged that process. So that's cool. So anyways, so thanks, Shaun. Really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it, and
anytime.
And look forward to hearing all these future podcasts as well. So
wicked.
We'll see how we go. Cool, awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day, and we'll catch up with you later on. Cheers.